Habakkuk. Hey, it's a beautiful day. So I'm going to do this outside. I know it's Christmas Eve. I went to the store. The place is packed with people shopping. And a lot of people in there had lists. I guess they're trying to buy things for the last minute. Christmas dinner and stuff preparation. Anyway, let me get right into this. Hard times are coming. If you read the headlines this morning on Fox News, it says they're predicting that 2024 is going to have the worst economic disasters since the Great Depression. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I do know this, that America has been printing more money than they have anything to back it up with. And they've been doing it for so long that they're in debt. Eventually, the bill comes due. So I do know that. But they're predicting that the housing market is going to drop 50%. They believe stocks are going to drop 75%. People in crypto, 90%. So the economic forecast for the United States doesn't look good. Unless before the election in 2024, they're going to try to bump it up a little bit to make it appear to seem good. I don't know. Nobody knows. I do know this. Based on what the scripture says, tough times are coming. Okay, this was the situation in Habakkuk's days. And Habakkuk was told by God that the Babylonians, the Assyrians, the Chaldeans were going to invade them. And the reason they were going to invade them is because Judah had been in disobedience. They kept rejecting God. They kept rejecting his plan. They wouldn't allow God to be their king. And they were greedy. They were involved in all kinds of fighting and different things that caused God to say, you know what, enough's enough. They'd gone into idolatry. That was probably one of the worst things they could have done. And so God has allowed Babylon under Nebuchadnezzar to come, capture Jerusalem, and take many of them into captivity. Now, let me ask you a question. If you knew that hard times were coming, and in this case, it's going to last 70 years, and a lot of people don't know, as Habakkuk's not just talking about the 70 year of captivity that they're going into Babylon, but this is covering a prophetic time all the way to the end. Okay? So, what would you do if you knew today that your loved ones were going to be carried off 1,000 miles away? You weren't going to see them for another 70 years. And financially, you're going to be totally devastated. You're going to lose your bank account, all your stock market, all your savings, gone. Your house is confiscated from you. Your business destroyed. What would you do? Now, Habakkuk at first complaint was, God, don't you hear me? We're suffering, we're struggling, and all that. I've been crying out to you it just seems like you're just not hearing. You're just not listening. And that was his first complaint. But God was listening. And God was doing something. And even now, God is doing something. And he's doing something in your life. He's doing something in my life. Okay, we don't always see what he's doing. But he has a plan. And he's doing something behind the back. But in the midst of turmoil, when everything is going wrong, Habakkuk now has this question. And it's more almost of an attack or a question on God himself. And he says this, he says, O Lord, are you not from everlasting? My God, my Holy One, we're not going to die. O Lord, you have appointed them to execute judgment. O Rock, you have ordained them to punish. Your eyes are too pure to look on evil. You cannot tolerate wrong. Why then do you tolerate the treacherous? See, he was concerned. You're going to let the Babylonians, which are wicked people than we are, discipline us? How can you do that, God? How can you allow bad people to discipline good people? And that was the dilemma that Habakkuk had. And so God gives him an interesting answer. And I'm not going to share it all today. I'll share it next time because I know it's Christmas Eve and people want to be with family and all that. But God gives them an interesting answer. And he does it in two ways. First of all, he lets them know, yeah, these Babylonians are going to come and they're going to devastate you. They're going to kill your family members. They're going to take people captive. And they're going to take possession of everything you have. And they're going to destroy Jerusalem. But their day is coming too. They're not going to get away with this. They are going to suffer too. Meanwhile, this is what I want you to do. And he says this here. He says, and as Habakkuk continues, he says this, therefore, he sacrificed to his nets and burns incense to his dragnet, for by his net he lives in luxury and enjoys the choicest food. Is he to keep on emptying his nest, destroying nations without mercy? I will stand my watch and station myself on the rampart. I will look to see what he will say to me and what answer I am to give to his complaint. And so God said, he's talking about the Babylonians that are always conquering and taking, and they're filling their net like fishermen fill with fish. And he's saying, this is what they're doing with our possession. And God says to Habakkuk, write down the revelation. What I'm about to tell you that you would otherwise not know. Okay, for the revelation awaits an appointed time. And he says this, so, see, he is puffed up. His desires are not upright. He's talking about the Babylonians. They're arrogant, their strength is their God, and so forth. And he gives this solution. And he gives it to Habakkuk, he gives it to Judah, he gives it to Israel, he gives it to you and me. And he says this, the righteous will live by his faith. There it is. What do you do in hard times? You trust God. Simple. It's just that simple. When everything seems to be going awry and wrong, you just trust God. And God came to rescue. He rescued what? Daniel out of the lion's den? Those 3 boys out of the fiery furnace? He sustained them and gave them jobs even in captivity. He educated them. He took care of them even in the midst of disaster. Their fate saw them true. We don't know where we're going to get bread tomorrow. We don't know where we're going to live tomorrow. I don't know if I'm ever going to see my children again. When you're in the midst of that crisis, this is your opportunity to execute faith. Okay? Faith. And that's what God says he wants. For without faith, it's impossible to please God. So this is coming on America. I know that. As sure as I'm sitting here, I know the bad times are coming. I know the tribulation's coming. And I know before then, it's not just the United States, the whole world is collapsing in terms of morality, in terms of moral virtues, in terms of removing God from his president. And the Antichrist is already setting the stage for him to come in and take over. Okay, so in the process of everything being dismantled, this is our opportunity to execute faith. Listen very carefully to me. When we die or get raptured out and go to heaven, in heaven, we do not have an opportunity to exercise faith. You don't need to. Faith only comes when you believe and trust God that he's going to do something that you can't see. I know that's hard to do. And it just seems like if you had faith yesterday and everything came true and worked out, it seems like you got to reproduce it all over again today, and it's just as hard as it was yesterday. But can you imagine God not seeing you true? Or a good father not making a way for you? He promised us. He says, don't worry about where you're going to live, what you're going to eat. He said, look at the birds. You can see the birds flying. Even the vultures going around. He says, your father takes care of them. How much more valuable are you than them? In the midst of difficult times, what God is telling Habakkuk to do is to walk by faith. Trust me. Yeah, 70 years of hardship's about to come, but even more than that, there's going to be a time of 400 years where God doesn't even talk to Israel or Judah anymore. Then Jesus comes on the scene. And then the church is established, and then even the church becomes apostate. So we know that the time is near. Hard times are coming. What do? It's simple. The just shall live by faith. I don't know, but I'm going to trust you, God. There's a lot of things that you're waiting and you're praying for, and you don't know how the answer is going to come. You just keep trusting God. God, I'm going to trust in your sovereignty, in your love. This is your opportunity to prove the character of God, that he is who he says he is. And there isn't any greater gift you can give to God as a thanksgiving for your salvation than your exercise and your faith in him to deliver you, not only for his good pleasure, but also for his glory and for your benefit. God bless you all. It's a beautiful day. Vultures are circling. I'll bring more to you in more detail next time. Such a beautiful day. I want it to be outside. God bless. Bye.